Hey everybody, it's Bob and good friend Phil with me here, another Trade Genius podcast. Well, they did it. We'll explain.
Trade Genius.
Hey everybody, Bob, Trade Genius here. Peace, love, and Trade Genius. Spring into some savings with us right now. We got some great specials running. Market is in unprecedented areas right now. We think we got a good handle on it. Go to tradelikeagenius.com. Take advantage of our spring specials. Thanks for listening. See you later. Okay, Phil, we rang the bell. So what's next in Bitcoin land?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to all you hodlers out there that have been through all these cycles. Another all-time high. New all-time highs sometimes take a while to get back to. So congrats on that. Now, I wanted to kind of go over, what we can expect now that we've done this. And so I'm going to switch over to the charts here real quick. First thing I want to show you guys is, basically, we have our price chart here. And, I drew kind of like a parabolic curve on things. So you can kind of see we're in a very bullish structure, obviously, right? But you'll notice I have this red line. Basically what this is a moving average envelope. So this is the top of the envelope. On that line, the lower stepped line, this red lower step line is the bottom of the envelope. So the top of the envelope's like at 70,800, bottom of the envelope's like at 53. And in the middle here is what that's revolving around is the weighted moving average of 20 on the daily chart. So we're looking at this actually on a 12-hour chart, but these are being plotted against the daily time frame. So what does that mean? Well, whenever you start to press up against the daily envelope, it typically will exhaust price. And the reason for that, I think, is just because algos are looking for mean reversion, and you get so far away from the moving average that, they're basically looking for some profit taking or mean reversion to take place. So the bid kind of tapers off there. And we got pretty close to it this time around. Then we had our all-time high that we poked today, just I think by $200 or $300, we made a new all-time high. And then an immediate sell came in. So what I wanted to show you guys was that, that's not unusual for Bitcoin. And we can go back to the $20,000 all-time high and look at what happened there real quick. So here's, the 2017, 2018 high and marked it off here. And if we zoom in now, if we come in over to where we started to come back up off of the 2018 bear market, we were making our comeback here, end of 2020. Okay. We came up like a freight train, kind of similar to what we did this move, came up really strong, got to within a few $100s, had a couple day pullback, come V reverse right back up. And we actually did take out, if you zoom in, we actually did take out the high by a few ticks. Okay. So we pulled back immediately. Look familiar? Pulled back immediately. We ended up really just chopping around from November 30th until December 16th. So a better part of 2 weeks before we finally resolved all this. And then we had a really strong move over the all-time high. So can we expect the same thing? I would say so, probably. Maybe not as long a duration. It's hard to say. We do have March OPEX that runs into the middle of the month. So that would kind of jive with a 2-week window, because if the market's going down into OPEX, they typically will pivot off of OPEX and everything moves back up. So stocks and all that stuff, commodities will start to move back up. So that kind of does fit the profile for that type of scenario. And then my general view was that as we get through the middle of March and then out that back side of March, we would probably have a very bullish move. So it's possible we could consolidate in here for that. I think it would be healthy. Funding's pretty high, and I'll get into some of those metrics here in a bit. But if you look though, we could pull back to is something else I wanted to look at with you guys. And if we fast forward back to where we are today, what I'm looking at for a potential pullback would be for price to meet up with the weighted moving average 20 on the daily. So that would take us down to like 59, 58, 60, in that region. That would be a pretty big pullback. That wouldn't even be like a 20% pullback though, right? So even that would be somewhat shallow for what we've been getting in this leg up. Now, because it's kind of a parabolic structure, you would assume that the pullbacks would not be as deep as the previous couple ones that we've had since this structure started. That's why I'm kind of keen on this area. And that would blow through some stops that were in here from this consolidation. And, typically that would, qualify as a pretty big nuke for Bitcoin. And you get those on these moves too. If you go back and look at, this structure, you can draw a lot of similarities to when we started to really get bullish into 2021. You'll notice we poked up over the moving average envelope, big nuke back to the WMA 20, right? And then big move back up to kind of finish off that run. So that's a possibility, all right? Otherwise, what we're going to do, I think, if that doesn't materialize and we survive this without making a much lower low, then what we can probably expect is something like a consolidation up in here, right? For, maybe it's a week or whatever, but we consolidate. If we don't really nuke this really soon, then I think we're going to consolidate, and ultimately we're going to give it another go at the all-time highs. So that's what we're looking at. Now, what you need to watch though when we get into the situation is you have to look at funding and things like that. So here's a chart from Coinalyze, and this is the long short ratio. So that's one metric. Usually when the big nukes are done, you're going to see a move on the long short ratio to about 1.65. And basically that's because everyone's just buying the dip essentially. And you're going to see that positioning get kind of extreme in that regard. And that usually finishes off the dip. The other one we look at is funding rates. And usually when the funding rate, the aggregated funding rate gets over 0.1, that's usually your danger zone. That's where a lot of the big nukes come from, where you're getting like $5,000, $10,000 pullbacks. And we touched that today. So we kind of checked that box off. And that's why we were warning people in the room that this could be a potential big pullback. You know, if this move continues down today, by the time we're done recording this, I don't know if we're going to see lower by the time you guys watch this, but I would be watching the threshold of 1.65 on the long short ratio for Binance. You guys can Google that. You guys can find the metric for that. But that's something I keep an eye on for when we get these larger pullbacks. The other thing we looked at in the room was some of the indicators that we have. Like this is our sniper and this is our pro heat indicator down here. And we had a big bearish divergence on the 4-hour. And we also had a 4-hour signaling after we made the all-time high that we probably have some weakness coming in. And the higher time frame, the 12-hour, also another sniper cell is coming in on this bar. This bar will confirm in 5 hours, probably holds. As you can see, last time it caused a pretty long consolidation. Heat also signaled on these moves up, basically telling us that the cycle is getting tired. And so, you know, we kind of expect that this would probably range out for a bit here. So this is the stuff we're looking at, our technical analysis tools, our indicators that we use. So if you guys are interested in any of this stuff, you know, head over to the website. You can definitely get a hold of these tools. So Bob, that's pretty much it. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at. Ultimately, I think consolidation, new all-time highs, and then a big squeeze back up, because again, I think we're in a big parabolic move. And I think we've got 6 figures in our future before this entire, you know, everything rally blows off into May.
Yeah, and if you guys, you know, also look at the silver chart from 2010, 2011, and you'll see a similar kind of structure where you push a high, then it pulls back pretty hard, and that's basically the fuel for the big move up. So I'm definitely in that camp, Phil. And it's interesting, all the commodities are participating now. So, you know, gold had followed through, natural gas is moving, oil is moving. So I think there's a rotation coming, and, you know, Bitcoin's leading the way. The thing that we want to see and the governments don't want to see is Bitcoin and gold moving together, because that's basically a big FU to their economic policies. And I think we're at that point. So guys, check us out. Go to our room, you know, tradelikeagenius.com. We'll teach you how to trade this thing. Everybody's panicking. Phil told us a long time ago that this thing's going to be moving to the highs. He guided everybody through it. And, you know, my specialty more is I'm the energy guy. And we just see that these guys are everything's starting to shift to commodities. We'll help you make money in the markets. What we charge for the service is nothing compared to what you get out of it. So with that, Phil, thank you very much. And as Bitcoin's flying around, we'll probably talk about it every day. As energy starts to fly around in gold, you know, we'll just bring you daily updates on that. We'll get away from macro and we'll start talking about how to trade these things. It's exciting when things start to move, and I think we're at that point. And I think these next 6 to 10 weeks, Phil, are going to be probably, I think, will be memorable. So,
agreed. Some wild moves
guys,
ahead.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us.
Trade Genius.